Snapchat TV. Subscribe.
He has also talked about it. That left hook is so good, and it's so long and so precise and so hard, but
What's up, my people? It's Backchat TV. We're going to get straight into this new developments, should I say, that's happening in regards to the Terence Crawford Errol Spence rematch. Now we all know that Errol Spence has activated his rematch clause quite a while ago now, and we all know that they made an agreement. Terence Crawford said that he would fight Errol Spence in a rematch. He's reiterated this in countless interviews that he's happy to fight him, whether it be at the same weight in a rematch, 147 pounds, the welterweight division, or to move up to 154 pounds, which would be Errol Spence's preferred weight. In every interview I've seen Terence Crawford, he's agreed. Now, I'm a Terence Crawford fan. I like both of them, but I always said Terence Crawford was the better fighter. I always thought that he would win. I also think he's a man of his word. Errol Spence is definitely a man of his word. I like his character a lot. He never had to, make the fight happen with Terence Crawford, and he did. Unfortunately, he lost, which is what happens. There's no shame in any of that stuff. And after the epic fight, I think they both acted like professionals and gentlemen, and they've been like this up until now. I have seen some things online where they're starting to kind of suggest some kind of a riff in between them both, and I think this is just being stirred up by a lot of different people, but it's also been interpreted, I think, in the wrong way. I've seen a few channels talk about how Terence Crawford is trying to go his own way, and he's trying to renege on their initial contract. He doesn't really want to take the rematch, and he's looking at different things. And Errol Spence is feeling quite frustrated because obviously he's finding it difficult against Terence Crawford back in the ring. This is what people have been saying. And then based on that misinformation, there's been lots of comments that, oh, Terence Crawford has not kept his side of the bargain. He doesn't want to fight him and stuff like that. I don't think that's what's been going on. Errol Spence kind of made a bit of a cryptic message on Twitter saying, I feel like I'm being played or something like that. Obviously, he's talking about the fight. He didn't say that, but it's quite obvious that that's what he's talking about, because these negotiations that he's trying to make happen are really important to him, and he wants this rematch now. And so he made a comment saying, I feel like I'm being played, referring probably to Terence Crawford's team. Now, what I speculate is going on, Terence Crawford is a man of his word, like I said. He always said he will offer Errol Spence the rematch. Yeah, and it's not just about offering him the rematch, it's in the contract. He has to give him the rematch. But what people need to understand is the original contract is different if they fight at a different weight class. Yeah, the only thing that's in the contract, and I'm guessing, but I'm pretty sure that the only thing that's in the contract is that there has to be a rematch, that Terence Crawford has to give Errol Spence a rematch at 147 pounds. That's not negotiable. But the problem is, Errol Spence didn't foresee that, if he wanted the rematch, it would have to be at 154 pounds. He didn't think that far ahead. He probably thought he would beat Terence Crawford, and then he would move up. He wouldn't need to add this to the contract. So the contract, as far as I know, only talks about a rematch at 147 pounds. So rightly so, Terence Crawford's team have probably offered Errol Spence the rematch at 147 pounds, like it says in the contract. Errol Spence obviously wants to fight at 154 pounds. This is a different weight class, and that means, surprise, surprise, a new negotiation. It's only natural, it wouldn't make financial sense. And nobody would advise Terence Crawford this. If his financial advisors, promoters, they wouldn't tell him, yeah, do the fight 154 pounds, exactly the same split, everything. It doesn't make sense. There has to be a new negotiation if it's at a new weight. Yeah, so, Terence Crawford is now the A side. He wasn't the A side before. He is now the A side. He wants to have the percentages in his favour. which he will get as the winner, as the undisputed champion. He will get that, but he also wants more money, I'm suspecting, to fight at £154. He has to use his bargaining power. Errol Spence have to offer him more money. This is what people do all the time. It's nothing unusual. It's not Terence Crawford being a snake or anything like that. He has to negotiate more money. The money that he's negotiating has to take into consideration the new weight class money. Remember, although they're both outgrowing the weight of £147, Terence Crawford will be at a disadvantage. Errol Spence will be at an advantage going up to £154. So, you're not going to give someone an advantage for the same amount of money. All these things cost money. Remember, when they started the negotiations and Terence Crawford was the B-side, Errol Spence's team, they were making Terence Crawford jump through hoops, which is only natural. He was the one bringing in most of the money. Terence Crawford's belts didn't really stand for nothing. It was all about the money, who brings in the pay-per-views. That's what everyone was talking about. Errol Spence is the star. He's the A-side, which was the case. That was reflected in the percentages and the money that they made through ticket sales and stuff like that. Countless times, Errol Spence made more money than Terence Crawford. So he was the A-side. And, they had ridiculous splits with Al Heyman when they were talking about 80-20 and all sorts of things. This is all to do with, what your bargaining power is. So now Terence Crawford has the bargaining power. Yeah. It's only right that he factor in these new developments. Errol Spence now wants to fight at £154. Yeah. He realizes that to have an advantage, to have a chance of winning, he has to go up to £154. He didn't say that before the fight. But now, obviously, it's come to light in his defeat that he only has a chance at £154. Terence Crawford doesn't have to take that. Terence Crawford could say, no, £147 or nothing, But he's not saying that. He's just saying, well, okay, if we fight at £154, it's going to have to be more money. And if Errol Spence turns that down and says, he ducked me, he wanted to change the contract, he wanted more money, we're going to go forward from that, then the fight doesn't happen. Whose fault would it be? Nobody's fault. It's just business. It's nobody's fault. If Errol Spence really wants the rematch and he really believes he can beat him £154, then they need to put their hand in their pocket. That's just the way it works. Other than that, you've got to remember, Terence Crawford has lots of opportunities now that he's won this epic fight. He has everybody calling his name, from Gervonta Davis to Keith Thurman. Every minute I see Keith Thurman calling out Terence Crawford, which is ridiculous because he hasn't really done much and he's been inactive for I don't know how long. He's trying to get a payday and get some of the limelight. Jamal Charlo is in talks. Canelo is entertaining this fight at £168. Terence Crawford, if he goes up to £168 to fight whoever wins between Canelo and Jamal Charlo, he'll be great. He'll be the first man to do this, So Terence Crawford is chasing greatness. I kind of feel like he wants to fight with Errol Spence, but I feel like he's looking at these other big milestones in his career now, and what do you expect? He beat Errol Spence. He wants to move on. He wants to beat Charlo. He wants to beat Canelo and do great things. And this is, and at the same time, he's got how many children? 5, 6 children. Of course he has to negotiate more money for a new weight. Just makes sense. I would. It doesn't matter if I'm friends or not. I wouldn't say, yeah, let's do this whole thing again, the same money, the same split in the contract, which we said before. No, I'm now the A side. I have to negotiate something which is more financially benefiting me more than before. So I don't see how there's anything wrong with that. And Errol Spence can feel a bit slighted by this because he'll think, well, we had an agreement. Why do we have to talk about more money? But, if you're not the A side, you're the one who lost, then you're going to be the one who's getting the the wrong end of the stick, as it was. And just got to suck it up. That's just how negotiations work between the A side and the B side, and the person who won. And if you look at the way Terence Crawford won the fight, it wasn't close, and that plays a part in the negotiations as well, because now obviously there will be people who won't even consider paying to watch this fight again because of how conclusive the fight was the first time. So there may be some loss in sales in a rematch. A lot of people think that Errol Spence is kind of damaged goods as well. This is something that a lot of people think. It wasn't a close fight in the way that people could say, well, you know what, it was quite close. Let's see what happens at £154. A lot of people think the same or worse is going to happen. So you've got to factor in all those things. You may get less pay-per-view buys because people think they know the what the conclusion will be. You've got Terence Crawford taking a chance. It's easier for Errol Spence to go up to £154 than Terence Crawford. The fight should be a lot closer with Errol Spence being allowed to have that extra weight. A lot of things in his favour. So Terence Crawford has to negotiate more money. And like I said, he's got like 6 or 7 children or something last time I checked. So end of the day, it makes perfect sense. But for this narrative that Terence Crawford is now changing things and he's a bit of a snake and he's going back on his word and stuff, I think that's all nonsense. It's all business. A lot of people are not privy to what's going on when it comes to business. And, you know, they just read into things. But personally, I think it makes sense. I don't think Terence Crawford is trying to wriggle out of the fight. If you think about it, who else would Terence Crawford fight? If the fight breaks down because Errol Spence's team don't want to pay more money and they go separate ways, there's no one I can think of that Terence Crawford can get that kind of money from anyway before fighting a Canelo or a Charlo. Even if he fights Keith Thurman, you know. There isn't. Some people say he could fight Boots Ennis. I mean, Boots Ennis hasn't done enough to get the fight with Terence Crawford at the moment. So, to be honest, Errol Spence is the only person who's a big fight for him. And I don't think he's trying to duck him for any reason. You know, it's just strictly business, negotiation of financial gain, you know. As the A side, you need to always be leveraging your power. Errol Spence did it, and now it's Terence Crawford's time to do the same thing. But let me know what you think. Do you disagree with what I'm saying? Do you think Terence Crawford is being a snake, trying to prolong, you know, the negotiations, trying to get more money, trying to dodge him at £154 or something like that? Let me know. I'm interested to hear what everyone else thinks about this. I'm on to the next one.
So, if you enjoyed my video, then don't be a loser and like, comment, share, and subscribe to my channel. You know you want to. Thank you.